There comes a moment in every believer's journey when heaven moves in silence, when God begins to rearrange the unseen, so the visible world cannot help but respond. You may not see it, you may not feel it, but I tell you with fire in my spirit, God is about to flood your bank with favor, not a trickle, not a sprinkle, but a flood. When God moves, he does not move with limitation. When his hand releases abundance, it is not with hesitation, but with unstoppable power, purpose, and overflow. You've walked through seasons of delay, wondering when things will finally shift. You've looked at your account and whispered, "When will this drought end?" But the drought was never your defeat. It was your preparation for divine release. When the land is dry, rain becomes more valuable. When your resources are stretched, your faith is strengthened. And when faith is strengthened, you become ready for what God is about to pour. God does not bless an unprepared soul. He allows emptiness so that when he fills it, his glory, not your effort, is revealed. Understand this truth. Favor is not random. Favor is strategic. It is the language of destiny. It appears when you've been tested, your motives purified, your hands cleaned, and your heart aligned with obedience. The world may call it luck, but those who walk with God know favor is a covenant between your faith and his promise. You have prayed, waited, and endured, and now the spiritual climate is shifting. Heaven has seen your faithfulness in the valley, and God is preparing to reward you in the presence of your enemies. Do not mistake delay for denial. Every delay is a design. God was not ignoring you. He was enlarging your capacity. He was stretching your faith to contain greater blessing. Some of you have lived on just enough, but God is about to move you into more than enough. You will walk into rooms you never imagined. You will receive calls you never made. You will see opportunities you never chased, because when favor floods your life, effort turns into ease and scarcity bows before abundance. God follows a divine pattern. Before every flood of blessing, there is always a flood of faith. He prepares your spirit before he fills your account, because if your heart isn't ready, the blessing will crush you instead of lift you. That's why you experienced lack. That's why you were rejected, misunderstood, and overlooked. Favor must find a humble heart, and now your humility has qualified you. Your tears have spoken louder than your words. Your faith has built a case before the throne of heaven, and the verdict is abundance. When God decides to flood your bank with favor, it will not depend on human systems or economic trends. God does not ask permission to bless his children. His favor bypasses logic and defies limitation. One divine connection can open 1,000 doors. One inspired idea can multiply into generational wealth. One seed can become a forest of provision. God is about to prove that when he blesses, no one can reverse it. Sometimes God tests your generosity to measure your readiness for favor. You cannot expect a flood with closed hands. God fills what is open. He blesses what is released. Many of you gave when it didn't make sense. You sowed into barren ground. You believed without evidence. But God saw every sacrifice, every offering, every tear, every act of faith. You chose trust over fear, and now the heavens are responding. The rain of favor is gathering over your name. The clouds are heavy with blessing, and the downpour is about to begin. Do not let your eyes deceive you. Even if your situation still looks dry, God often works underground before he moves above ground. The roots of your harvest are spreading. The foundation of your wealth is forming. The same people who doubted you will soon witness God rewriting your financial destiny. This is not about greed, it's about glory. God wants to display through you that his favor has no limit. He wants your story to be evidence that faith attracts divine provision. But remember this, favor flows to the faithful, not the fearful. If you allow fear to dominate your thoughts, you block the current of abundance. God does not pour into doubt, he pours into trust. When you speak words of worry, you repel the flood. When you speak words of faith, you attract it. Declare today, even before it happens, God is flooding my bank with favor. Say it until your spirit believes it. Speak it until your atmosphere shifts, because words create excess. When your declaration aligns with God's intention, the floodgates open. There is a sacred law in the Spirit. God cannot bless what you curse. If you keep saying, I am broke, you seal your own drought. If you keep saying, I can't afford it, you build walls against your favor. But when you say, God is my source, you open a river of provision. Wealth is not just money, it is the manifestation of divine trust. When God sees you as a faithful steward, He releases more. He blesses you not just to fill your life, but to overflow into others. If this message stirred something in your spirit, don't just scroll. Press like as your act of faith. It's your way of saying, I believe this word is for me. Go ahead and write, I receive it, or Amen. In the comments, let your declaration echo through the community of faith. Every word you type is a seed of belief, and heaven responds to faith expressed. If you know someone who's waiting for their breakthrough, share this video with them right now. You never know. This could be the word that turns their entire season around. And if you want to keep walking in divine wisdom and daily revelation, subscribe and stay connected. Together we rise in favor, faith, and purpose. You are not a reservoir of fear. You are a channel of generosity. When God floods your bank with favor, don't be surprised when those who ignored you suddenly notice you. They will wonder how it happened. They will try to reason it out, but they will fail to explain what is divine through what is natural. You will move from overlooked to overbooked, from forgotten to favored. Because when God decides it is your time, no power on earth or in hell can hold you back. Your moment has come. The spiritual clock has struck. Heaven is opening its treasury with your name engraved upon it. You may say, but I don't see any sign yet. That's because the greatest floods begin in silence. Before the rain falls, clouds gather quietly. Before breakthrough comes, stillness reigns. God often moves in ways the human eye cannot see. Do not interpret silence as absence. Heaven is working behind the curtain, preparing resources, aligning relationships, and orchestrating divine timing. And when it happens, it will be sudden. The same way the ancient flood came without warning, your favor will arrive unexpected, undeniable, and unstoppable. You have been faithful in what is small. You didn't complain when others prospered. You bless others even while you lacked. That posture has moved the heart of God. Now He will reward you openly. There will be a divine reversal. The hands that once reached out for help will soon become the hands that give it. The same voice that once prayed for provision will testify of abundance. You will become living proof that when God says it's time to prosper, nothing can stand in your way. Do not let the opinions of others limit you. Some will say favor is unrealistic, that abundance is prideful, but it is not pride to receive what God provides. Poverty does not glorify God. Obedience does, faith does, integrity does. God delights in your prosperity when it reflects His goodness. When your wealth becomes a testimony, it draws others toward faith. You were never meant to struggle forever. You were designed to rise, to expand, to reign in wisdom and abundance. The secret is surrender. When you surrender your plans to God, He multiplies them beyond measure. Many strive to force wealth, but divine favor is not earned through stress. It is received through surrender. When you stop chasing money and start pursuing purpose, money begins to chase you. When your motive shifts from accumulation to assignment, heaven takes notice. God favors those who understand that favor is not for self-exaltation, but for service, for impact, and for transformation. There are 3 dimensions of favor: divine, relational, and material. Divine favor opens heaven's approval over your life. Relational favor places you before people who carry answers to your prayers. Material favor releases the tangible proof of God's provision. When all three align, wealth flows effortlessly. That alignment is forming now. People will show up with solutions. Opportunities will knock without warning. Doors you never knew existed will swing wide. The flood is forming, and you must prepare. Preparation is proof of faith. If you truly believe the flood is coming, start building your ark. Organize your finances. Clean your environment. Detach from negative voices. Position your mind to receive. When you prepare, you send a signal to heaven that you are ready for overflow. God cannot release favor into chaos. Order attracts abundance. Structure sustains blessing. Begin acting like someone expecting increase, because expectation is the birthplace of manifestation. There is power in prophetic gratitude. Thank God in advance for what has not yet appeared. Gratitude draws favor faster than prayer alone. When you thank God before the blessing arrives, you declare your faith louder than your need. Gratitude says, I already know it's done. For God never restores to the same level. He multiplies when he floods. He doesn't measure drops. He releases rivers, rivers that carry your name, your business, your dreams into territories you never thought you'd reach. Keep walking by faith, not by sight. Sight sees limitation. Faith sees overflow. You are standing on the edge of a divine release that will redefine your entire life. God is not just blessing you financially. He is rewriting your legacy. He is making you a living example of what happens when faith refuses to quit. Your testimony will not be whispered. It will be declared through your abundance. Others will learn that trusting God never fails. When God fixes his eyes on a person to favor them, no force on earth can stop that wave from coming. A divine acceleration begins to move in the spirit, and everything delayed starts rushing toward you. It's as if heaven suddenly remembers your name, and every prayer once whispered in secret begins to echo through the courts of eternity. You are entering a time where God will make your obedience expensive, where your faith will yield interest, and your waiting will produce weight in glory. You are not forgotten. You are being remembered in the economy of heaven. You may have thought your faithfulness and trust went unnoticed, but God keeps perfect records. Every seed, SWN, in faith was registered. Every act of obedience was documented. Every tear shed while holding on to hope was collected. God does not forget. He is meticulous with those who trust him. And when your time of remembrance arrives, favor does not come like a stream. It comes like a flood. When God's favor comes, it doesn't trickle, it floods. You are standing at the edge of that river right now, and when it breaks its banks, it won't be to highlight your skills, degree, or connections. It will be to reveal his sovereignty. God will move so swiftly that you'll have no one to credit but him. Contracts will appear from directions you never sought. Opportunities will rise from conversations you never had. You will wake up one morning and realize only God could have done this. That is the wonder of divine favor. It astonishes even those who receive it. But understand this, favor is never just for accumulation. It's for assignment. God blesses you to become a blessing. He increases you so that his generosity can flow through your hands. When you realize that money is not the goal but the instrument, you qualify for unlimited abundance. Heaven trusts those who manage wealth without worshipping it. When your wealth becomes a testimony instead of a trophy, the flood never stops. It keeps pouring for the humble. Many pray for favor, but few prepare for it. They desire overflow without a foundation. God will not pour abundance into an unprepared vessel. First, he molds your mindset, tests your integrity, refines your patience, and stretches your faith. He allows seasons of lack not to punish you, but to train you for plenty, because favor without wisdom becomes a burden. Preparation is proof of his intention to promote you. Don't despise the process. It's the prelude to overflow. Sometimes your financial delay is divine protection. You might think you're ready, but God sees deeper. He knows premature promotion can damage character. Sudden wealth can corrupt an unguarded heart. So he waits until your motives are purified, until you no longer need favor to feel valuable. When your heart is ready, he releases the harvest freely. God never withholds to harm you. He withholds to heal, to teach, to strengthen. Remember this, favor begins in the mind before it reaches your bank. You can't receive externally what you don't believe internally. The limitation is not God, it's belief. If you see yourself small, life treats you small. If you think scarcity, you attract scarcity. God wants to enlarge your mentality before he enlarges your resources. See yourself as a steward of abundance, someone trusted by heaven to distribute wealth with divine purpose. That mindset magnetizes supply. The wealth coming isn't just currency, it's influence, access, and authority. God is not just giving you money, he's giving you a voice. He's positioning you where decisions are made, placing your name in rooms that shift nations. This is kingdom favor. He's raising you as a vessel of provision for many. That's why the flood is vast. It's not for you alone, but for those connected to your obedience. Do not fear the magnitude of what's coming. Some of you have lived small for so long that greatness feels uncomfortable. But God doesn't consult your past to define your future. He will place you where your aff cannot justify. That's how he displays his power. The flood of favor isn't logical. It's supernatural. It doesn't obey earthly rules. It obeys divine law. And that law says what God opens, no man can shut. Learn to discern when favor is approaching. God gives signs before the flood. He awakens bold ideas, sends divine connections, stirs your spirit with restlessness. These are not coincidences. They are signals of movement. When these signs appear, respond with faith, not fear. Take inspired action, speak the word, sow the seed. Obedience activates overflow. And remember, favor flows where peace resides. Anxiety blocks the current. Worry is the enemy of wealth. When you trust completely, blessings move without resistance. Let go of fear about bills and shortages. You are not your bank balance. You are God's vessel. Your provision is not tied to a paycheck, but to his promise. Peace is the pipeline of prosperity. Stay still, and the flow will find you. There is also a divine law of association. Favor flows through connection. When God wants to bless you, he sends people. When the enemy wants to hinder you, he does the same. Be wise about who walks beside you in this season. Not everyone is built to handle your overflow. Some will envy your increase. Others will drain your energy. Stay surrounded by those who celebrate your growth and constantly point you back to God. The wrong company can block favor, but the right company multiplies it. Who you walk with determines how far the river of favor will carry you. Understand this. The flood of favor is not a single event. It is a divine system that never stops flowing for those who remain aligned. God doesn't bless you once and walk away. He sustains the stream for as long as your heart stays faithful. The moment pride replaces gratitude, the current slows. But when humility and generosity remain your posture, heaven keeps sending more. God delights in trusting those who treat wealth as worship. Every act of giving keeps the river alive. If you desire the full flood, you must be willing to leave the comfort zone. Favor is not found in familiarity. It demands courage to step into new territory. God may require you to walk away from habits, relationships, or patterns that no longer serve your destiny. Sometimes he closes one door only so the flood can enter through another. Do not resist divine redirection. What looks like loss is often God clearing the path for greater increase. When the favor of God overtakes you, it corrects everything that once limited you. Debts dissolve, delays disappear, doors sealed for years open as if they were never shut. That is the nature of divine favor. It rewrites reality. You'll look back and realize every delay, every disappointment, and every hardship was part of a divine equation leading to your overflow. God wastes nothing. Every season of struggle becomes the soil that produces your harvest. But remember, the flood of favor does more than fill your bank. It fills your life. Financial favor is only one stream in the river of abundance. There is favor in relationships, in health, in peace, and in purpose. When God favors you, every area begins to bloom. You'll wake up lighter, think clearer, love deeper, and give more freely. Favor restores what lack once stole. It heals unseen wounds and brings emotional and spiritual freedom. Favor is not fragile. It is fierce. It fights for you. It defends your name in rooms you've never entered. When God marks you with favor, no slander can reverse it. No jealousy can cancel it, and no system can suppress it. Just as no hand can stop a flood, no opposition can stop divine favor. It breaks through barriers, overflows boundaries, and rises higher than resistance. That is what God is preparing to release, unstoppable increase. Soon you won't need to explain your transformation. The evidence will speak. People will see the peace on your face, the strength in your step, the confidence in your tone. They'll sense something divine surrounds you. That is favor, quiet yet powerful, invisible yet undeniable. God will wrap you in his presence like a garment. Opportunities will find you, solutions will seek you, and doors will open simply because you carry his grace as favor increases. Discipline must rise with it. Blessing without structure leads to chaos. God doesn't flood to destroy, he floods to expand. Manage your overflow with wisdom, budget, plan, invest, and give strategically. Treat every resource as sacred, for what you respect multiplies. Discipline is the gatekeeper of destiny. The more you honor what God gives, the more he trusts you with abundance. There is also the law of secrecy. Some blessings are not meant to be broadcasted. When the flood begins, move in silence. Don't announce what God is doing before it's established. Not everyone who smiles is safe for your dreams. Protect your vision until it manifests. Speak less, pray more, act quietly, and let results make the noise. God blesses the humble, not the boastful. Guard your favor through discretion, and never forget favor requires motion. You cannot stand still and expect the river to reach you. Take steps in faith. Move when God says move. Each obedient action becomes a channel for the flood to flow through. Divine favor follows direction. Step out, and the waters will rise to meet your feet. Apply for that opportunity. Launch that idea. Write that plan. God blesses motion. When he sees you move, he multiplies your momentum. Even if the path feels uncertain, walk by faith. God cannot steer a parked vessel. He moves with those who move. The flood will find you in the flow of obedience. When God decides to favor you, he doesn't ask for permission. He simply acts. He breaks through barriers and moves through systems as if they never existed. What seemed impossible yesterday will bow before you tomorrow, because his hand has turned in your direction. Sometimes God hides favor in what looks like failure. What you called loss was divine alignment. Those closed doors were freeing you from the past. You could not carry the wrong people or the wrong mindset into the season of overflow that's approaching. God never releases the flood of his favor into a heart still chained to old pain. That's why some doors stayed shut, why some people left, and why certain opportunities crumbled. It wasn't rejection. It was redirection. Every no was God refining you, removing what could not survive abundance. The coming flood of favor isn't for the fearful. It's for the faithful. It's for those who have learned to trust even when nothing makes sense. God has been building your resilience in private. stretching your faith until you no longer need to understand. You simply believe you've prayed long enough. Now you're about to live what you prayed for. Resources are moving from unexpected directions toward you, and when they arrive, you'll see that not a single moment of pain was wasted. There is divine order in how God releases favor. First, he tests your heart, then he observes your stewardship. Finally, he measures your gratitude. If you can remain thankful in lack, you qualify for overflow. Gratitude in scarcity proves trust. It's easy to praise when the account is full. The real test is whether you can lift your hands when the balance is low. Those who worship in drought will dance in the flood. Favor doesn't follow complaints. It follows gratitude. Every time you choose thankfulness over frustration, another channel of blessing opens. Gratitude is the key that unlocks divine vaults. Understand also, divine favor is strategic. God never floods you randomly. He floods with purpose. Every release of wealth is tied to destiny. He gives to those who use blessing to serve his will. That's why he chooses keepers, not hoarders, visionaries, not victims. The moment your ambition becomes a channel for divine intention, the flow begins. This flood isn't just money. It's empowerment to fulfill purpose. The blessing won't break you. It will build you. It won't corrupt you. It will complete you. Never let anyone convince you that you are unworthy of wealth. God delights in seeing his people rise, shine, and multiply goodness. Poverty was never holy. It was never his design. What honors God isn't your suffering, but your faithfulness, not your emptiness, but your ability to use abundance for his glory. When you prosper with integrity, you demonstrate that faith produces fruit. You become living evidence that divine favor can turn an ordinary soul into a symbol of extraordinary possibility. The world isn't moved by words, it's moved by results. God will give you results so undeniable that his power will reflect through your life. When favor floods, don't fight it with fear. Some people reject blessings because they've been conditioned to think small. But God is too vast for your comfort zone. His favor is designed to stretch you, to pull you beyond limitation. When opportunities appear, say yes. When doors open, walk through them. When divine ideas arise, act on them. Don't shrink back in doubt. If God sent it, he has already equipped you to handle it. The flood is not meant to drown you. It's meant to deliver you. Those who once dismissed you will soon seek your wisdom. This rise you're experiencing will not be ordinary. It will be supernatural. God is collapsing time on your behalf. What once required years of effort will now manifest in a matter of months. The same soil that once resisted your labor will now yield in abundance. When heaven opens, everything responds differently. As you ascend, keep your heart tender. Don't let success or wealth harden your spirit. Favor flows most freely through humility. The more you acknowledge God as your source, the more he expands your capacity for increase. Pride pauses what humility multiplies. Stay teachable, stay prayerful, and stay grounded. Each time you begin to feel like you've made it, remind yourself that your walk with God is an ongoing journey. He's still shaping you, stretching you, preparing you for more. The flood of blessing you see now is not the conclusion. It's only the beginning of something far greater. Understand this deeply. You are not running after favor. Favor is running after you. You are not begging for blessings. Blessings have already been appointed to find you. God has written divine appointments of provision, expansion, and elevation into your timeline. Your responsibility is simple. Stay aligned with his will, stay grateful in every moment, and stay obedient even when it's uncomfortable. The struggle you endured was never meant to define you. It was designed to refine you. Every hardship was training your spirit to handle the overflow that's now coming. You are stepping into a future soaked with divine favor. A life overflowing with supernatural abundance and a destiny that will make the world testify that when God decides to bless a person, no force on earth can stop the flood.